You all welcome to today my lecture. This is the second lecture in e-lecture series of the subject Mathematics for Business. And today our topic is algebra equation. So as we know, algebra is the most important section, major, vast section in our course unit. And today I will cover the one part of algebra section, that is equation. So when first I move into the learning outcome of this short session, that means when you completed, after completion of this session, you should be able to identify the importance of algebra equations, and you should be able to solve the quadratic formula. Solve the quadratic formula by using factorizing, by using the completing square method, and by using the equation method, and by using the formula method, right? By using the formula method. So finally, after completion this section or session, you should be able to solve simultaneous equations using elimination method or substitution method. Then before moving to this quadratic equation, introduction of quadratic equation, I will explain you what is this, what is the equation, right? That means first of all, it is better to understand what does this equation mean. In generally or in the simply, from the algebra, the definition of an equation is a mathematical statement that shows two mathematical expressions are equal. So therefore, an equation is a mathematical expression that contains an equal symbol. It should contain an equal symbol. So equations often contain algebra. Algebra is used to in mathematics when we when we want to apply these equations in our higher or advanced techniques in mathematics, then we can apply this equation in everywhere in mathematics. So the major thing in here, equations, because we know that equation shows a relationship of equality between the expression written on the left hand side with the expression written on the right hand side. So therefore, every equation in maths, we have right hand side and left hand side. So equations can be solved to find out the value of an unknown variable representing an unknown quantity or unknown value. Because we know our equation, in the equation there is an unknown variable, also variable or variables, right? Another thing is, if there is no equal to symbol in the statement, it means it is not an equation. Then we know it will be considered as an expression if there is no equal to symbol. So another thing is in here in the equation. In an equation, there are some different parts. Different parts are included in the equation, such as coefficient, variables, operations, constant, terms, expression, and equal to sign. All these things we can see in the equation. Right? We can see in an equation. So as an example here, I will write here one example for the equation, for simple example. 3x plus 5 equal to 15. Okay, this is an example for an equation. You can see in this equation, there is a coefficient. What is the coefficient? In this equation, coefficient is a 3. Right? 3 is the coefficient. And there is one variable. The variable is x. Variable is here in this example, where in this sample equation, variable is x. And there are operations also. In this case, plus is the operations, mathematical operations. And constant value 5 is constant. 15 also constant value. And there are terms. 3x is one term in this example, right? 5 is another term. Okay, there are terms in here. And equal to sign also here, we can see, right? So that means there are different parts of an equation which include coefficient, variable, operations, constants, terms, expressions, and equal to sign. And in addition to that, we can understand there are different type of equations. So we can divide or categorize equation at different way. So based on their degree of the variable, we can categorize our variable equations such as linear equation, quadratic equation, and cubic equation. So you know equations, right, with 1 as the degree are known as linear equation in mathematics. The already we discussed example is linear equation. Why? Here x variable's highest power is 1. Highest power is 1. So in such equations, 1 is the highest exponent of terms, then it is linear equation. And also this linear equation, further we can classify it into linear equation in 1 variable, linear equation in 2 variables, likewise. Okay, so you know this is the linear. Oh, I'll write again 3x plus 5 equal 15. This is the linear equation in 1 variable. When I write that another sample equation this way, 3x plus 2y equal to 25. This is also the 2 variable linear equation because 2 variables are there and their highest power is but only highest power is 1. So this is the linear equation with 2 variables. And in addition to that, today we in this section, right, in this lecture, I will highly focus the equation, quadratic equation, right? Quadratic equation. So quadratic equation is equations with the degree 2 are known as quadratic equation. That means standard form of a quadratic equation with variable x is, we can write ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. And in here, a, coefficient of x squared variable, x a should not equal to 0. Because if a equal to 0 mean, that means this squared term become the 0, no squared term. That means this is not the quadratic function. Therefore, if it is quadratic function, there should be a squared variable with the squared. වර්ගය තියෙන variable එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? So that means if this a is equal to 0 mean this variable become the 0, then no that type of variable. Therefore, always when we write in the standard form of the quadratic equation, we have to write ax squared plus bx plus c, and also we have to mention this a should not be equal to 0. And in addition to that, another type of equation is the cubic equation. So then we know equation with degree 3 are known as cubic equation. So then here 3 is the highest exponent of at least one of the terms. The standard form of the cubic equation with variable x, we can write this way, right? Ax, there should be cubic, one term, bx squared and cx plus d equal to 0. This is the standard form of the cubic equation. But the thing is in here, this term should have in here, but sometimes these all the terms no need to in same or one equation, maybe several or all, right? Maybe all terms or several among these, but this should be ax is cubic should be there because it is cubic equation. And in addition to this, another thing I would like to explain you. So equation versus expression, because here we are today learning about the equation, but expression is another mathematical technical term. Okay, expression. So expression and equation in maths are used simultaneously in algebra. We use those two words, but there is a major difference between two terms. Right? When I'll explain again with the example, when 2x plus 4, right? 2x plus 4, this is an expression. When I write it this way, 2x plus 4 equal to 0, then it considered as an equation. Right, as an equation. Now I think it is very clear what is the difference between expression and the equation. And so then when we move into our major consideration in this lecture, quadratic equation, right? So the quadratic equation is an equation in which the variable is raised to the second power. But what does that really mean? And how do you recognize one on this? How we can recognize whether is it quadratic equation or not? Just we have to check whether the equation has second power term or not. If there are second power term, then we know it is the quadratic equation. And another thing is, so quadratic equation, right? So quadratic equation, we need some time in mathematics, right? We have to solve that quadratic type equation. So we can solve quadratic type equation by using the several method. Okay. So what are those methods? We can use factorization method, and we can use formula method, applying formula. We can use the applying standard formula, we can solve the quadratic function, and also we can solve quadratic function by using the completing squared method. So first I will move to the factorizing method, right? So when we solve in a quadratic equation by factorizing, first we need to write the equation in standard form. We have to write the given equation in a standard form. Then we have to factor it completely. Then remember to apply this factorizing method to solve quadratic equation. The given equation should has factors, right? Factors. Otherwise, we can't apply this method. Right? And then you and as the next step, after factorizing the given equation, we can use zero factor property, set each factor with the variable equal to 0. That one we have to do, right? Then finally, we can solve each equation produced in the above step, and we can get the answer. So we can get the result. We can get the result from that means the value for the unknown variable, right? So then now, right? Here I am explaining now one example for you. So just look at this example. But in this example, you can see this is the I have given this example as a 2 brackets. That mean with like factors, right? But we know this is quadratic equation. So why? Because when we simplifying, no, multiplying these two, right? You know, when we multiplying these two factors, we can get a real equation, original equation. 40 plus 1 and 3t minus 5. Okay, when we multiplying these two together, 12t squared. Then 3t, when we multiplying the next two terms, 3t into 1, 3t, and multiplying minus 5 and 40 all together, 20t, right? Minus 20t and plus t, 3t. Then middle term becomes 17 minus 17t, and final term is a plus and minus. When you multiply plus and minus, 5 times 1, 5. Okay. So anyway, what I want to say here, this is the quadratic equation. In this equation has t's highest power, t squared. Okay. And then this is very easy because already it's factorized, right? Factorized. Then according to the steps already we discussed, right? Already discussed, we can write, because in middle of these two factors, in middle it is the product, multiplication. That means therefore we can write 40 plus 1 equal to 0, one part, other part 3t minus 5 equal to 0, right? So this one is one part, this part also separately equal to the 0, right? So then you can apply the simple equation solving method, right? Already you know basic method. So 40 equal to plus, then 40 equal to, we can bring this minus 1 into the other side in the equation sign, it becomes then minus 1. Then finally we can divide both parts into the 4. That means t become minus 1/4, 1 quarter or quarter, right? So likewise also other part we can simplify or solve. Then 3t equal to 5 and t equal to 5 over 3, right? So therefore, finally, we have the two answers or two solutions for the t. One is minus quarter, other one is 5 over 3. Okay, so because this is the quadratic equation, then therefore it has two values, two answers for the t, unknown variable t. Right? So then this is the way how we can apply factorizing method to solve the quadratic equation. So shall we move to one more example? Right? This is another example. So you can see in here, this is our given quadratic function. This is the given quadratic function, right? That means it is x squared, okay? X is squared plus 7x plus 6 equal to 0, right? So then, again, if you want to apply factorizing method to solve this quadratic equation, this equation should as factors, right? It should be the factors. We can factorize that equation. So otherwise we can't apply this method, right? So then this is again the first step as we discussed step. This is first step, okay, because this equation now we have written as the standard form, right? Written as the standard form. And now next, right? Next, to solve this equation, quadratic equation with by using the factorizing method, first we need to factorize this quadratic equation, right? I think you already know how to factorize this type of equation, but just I will explain to you it, right? So then when we factorize in this one, first we have to consider one thing. First we need to consider whether first term, here first term means square term. Square term's coefficient is whether 1 or not, right? So that means if it is equal to 1, then just we can need to consider this constant value 6. If this coefficient, if this term, square term has any coefficient, then we need to consider the value when multiplying this coefficient with the constant term, right? In this case, 6. And next step, we have to identify we have to consider all the factors in this 6, right? What are the factors? We know 6 into 1, one factor, 3 into 2, another factor, right? So then we have to find out the relevant or required factor from these all factors. How we select relevant factor? Just check whether when we adding or subtracting given already found factors value, can we get the middle term coefficient? Can we get the middle term coefficient? In this case, when we add in 6 into 7, we can get the 7. So, okay. When we minus in 5, no. When we add in the second one, 3 plus 2, 5. When we minus in it, 1, no, minus 1. So, okay. So, then one time. So, just we got the one time when we add in these one factors value together, and we can get the 7. So therefore, then we have to select that factor to expand our equations middle term. To expand equations middle term. And next, right? And then after identifying the correct factor, we can write expanding our middle term. How? Then first term is x squared. Then middle term, instead of 7x, we can write 7x by using these two values in our factor, 6 and 1. How? 6x, and we know plus, no? When we add in 1x or x, right? Then this is the 7x. So instead of 7x, we can write this one. And our remaining constant value is 6. It's equal to 0 now, right? Okay. So I think it is very clear. Now this is 7x, right? Our original equation has 7x. Instead of that, we can write it 6x plus 7. Okay. So then we have to consider two terms together. When I consider in first two terms together, and we can check whether what is the common factor. In here, common factor is when we consider in first two terms, common factor is x. So when removing that, this common factor, remaining value is x plus 6. Okay, because 1x removed from here and 6x වලිනුත් අපි එකක් ගත්තා. එතකොට 6 ඉතුරු. And next we need to consider the last two terms. When we consider in last two terms, are there any common factor? No, but we know if there is no common factor mean 1 is the common for both, right? Then x and x plus 6. When we multiply in 1, it's also x. When we multiply in 6 by 1, it's also 6, right? So then equal to 0, right? I will delete these things now, right? So this is the 0, okay? So then we can first now still I am factorizing, right, our given equation. So one factor is x plus 6, other factor is x plus 1. Okay, then we have two factors. Then we can solve or we can find the value for the x, right? Because 1 bracket x plus 6 equal to 0 or x plus 1 equal to 0. From this, x equal to minus 6 or from this, x equal to minus 1. So we got the two values for that. Right? So this is the way how we can solve the quadratic equation by using the factorization method. Right? So then when we move to our slides again, right. This is one more example here, but I am not going to explain this one. I think you can go through. In this case, just one thing you have to do, because this is the given equation. Given mean x squared plus 10x equal to minus 25. Okay, so you can solve this one. This is also quadratic equation. So first you need to convert this as the standard form. When we convert in it standard form, it becomes x squared 10x. When we bring in the minus 25 into the left hand side, it becomes plus 25. Okay, so then finally you need to, right? Finally, you need to x, okay, plus 25 equal to 0. Okay, so then you need to find out the factors for this one, right? So we know it's very easy. Just once we can find out the factors, okay? X squared, okay? 25 factors are 5 into 5. When we add in these 5x, it's become 10x. Therefore, two factors are this way, okay? So then it's very easy. You can solve and take the value for the x, right? So I am not going to further simplify that one. Okay. So then right. So another example in here. So I will explain this one for you because factorization of how to factorize the quadratic equation, right? That is important part. Okay, so you can learn these things also. So therefore, just I will do only this one. Okay. This is our fraction, right? The fraction is, or the given equation is 12y squared minus 5y equal to. Okay. So shall I do this one? Yes. Okay. Now you can see as the first step, I need to convert this as the standard form. When I converting this as the standard form, you can see we need to move this 2 into other side. It become minus, then 0. Okay. So then we need to find out the factors for this equation. For that, how we do it? Because now in here squared terms coefficient is 12. So then how? What is the value we need to factorize? 12 into 2. Right? That means 24. What are the factors for 24? 24 into 1, 6 into 4, 12 into 2. Any more? 8 into 3. Okay. Right. Now we need to check. That's good. Okay. There are more factors. Check how we can get the middle term coefficient. That is 5. Right. When we consider in this one, when adding no minus in 24 and 1, we cannot get the 5. 6 and 4 also no 5. Right. 12 and 2, when we add into 14 minus into 10, again it is not the equal to 5. But when we consider in this one, when we minus in the 3 from there, we can get the 5. Therefore, I can write this middle term minus 5y by using this 8 and 3. But remember, when we write in this one, first term, this is okay now. We need minus 5y, right? But then my 8, in here 8, I can write 8y and 3 minus 3y. Then we can get the minus 5y. Right? If we put the both in minus, that become a minus 11. Right? If we put the both in plus, then it's plus 11y. So therefore, the correct way to expand in this value is minus 8y and 3y plus and minus 2. This is the constant value. Okay. So then this part 4 instead of 5y, right? Instead of this 5y. Now when we can consider the two terms together, when we considering these two together, so what are the common factors? 4 is common and y also common. Then remainder of the first term is 3y. Okay, we can get 12, 3 into 3, 4 into 3, 12, 12y square. Sign is minus 4y. When we remove in 4y, remainder is 2. Because 4y multiplied by 2, we can get the 8y. And here, again, no common factor for these two terms. Therefore, we can bring the 1. So, remainder is 3y minus 2. Okay, equal to 0. So then therefore, what are the factors in our given equation? 4y plus 1 equal to 0. And other one is 3y minus 2 equal to 0. Right? So then what are the values for, or how we can solve the quadratic equation? From this, 4y equal to minus 1, then y equal to minus part. From second one, 3y equal to 2, right? And y equal to 2 over 3. Okay. Then that is the way how we can solve quadratic equation by using the factorizing method. Right. Then yes. I think now you can go through these slides. Okay, I will upload this slide in your LMS, and also I have given some more examples and also answers in there. Right, you can go through that. Then I move to here in second method. Second method that we can use to solve quadratic equation is completing squared method. Completing square method. So remember, if our given equation has not factors, then we can use completing square method. Right? Completing squared method. So already you know what is the meaning of completing squared method. Okay. So when we completing squared mean same, the factors, two factors are same, similar two factors, right? In this case, you can see. Right? You can see x squared 8x plus 16. Its factors are x plus 4 and again x plus 4. That means completing squared, right? And here also x squared, this is squared, okay? This is x squared minus 6x plus 9 factors are x minus 3, again x minus 3, okay? That's we call completing squared. So shall we move to one example again? So how we can use this completing square method to solve our the given equation, right? Yes, here one example. I will explain it for you. This is the given function. This is the given, not the function, sorry, equation, right? The given equation is W given equation is W something wrong here. Why? W squared plus 6W plus 4 equal to 0. Right? This is the equation. I will delete the other. Okay. Now you can see in here, we can apply completing squared method now. But first we can check whether are there any factors, right? In here we can see we can't factorize this one because for the 4 no any factors, right? 4 1 to 4, it's not reached to the 6, right? So it is not equal to 6. Therefore, anyway, we know there are no factors for this one. So then, to do the completing square method, as the first step, right, what we want to do, we have to move our constant value into the right side of the equation. I write it -4. Is it okay? Right? This 4 we bring to the other side. And next step, here we have to write completing squared factor. Right? So for that, what is the required value for here? Additional value. Right? So we have to identify that additional value to required here to write this one as a completing squared method or as a completing factor, a completing squared factor. So when we put in the additional value in here, and also when we put the same value in the other side of the equation, then original equation cannot change. We know that one. When we add in same value in both sides, our original function is same. When we minus in same value in both sides, the original function is not changed, right? So based on that, we can write we can write our function again, right? So then we need to decide what is the required value here. Okay, that is very easy. You can identify that value. How you can identify that value? Just take the half of the middle term coefficient value. Half of the middle term, here middle term coefficient. Middle term coefficient is in here 6. Then 6 multiplied by half, because we need to, that coefficient's half. Right? Then half equal to 3. And then squared that value. Right? So when we add in this value in here, 3 squared 3 mean 9. Right? And also we need to add 9 for here, because otherwise our, if we not do that, our original equation is, will be changed, right? So now when we add in this value here, now we can write this as a complete square, right? Complete square. So with this 9, right? So how we can write again, W here same sign, we can put in here half of this value. What is the half of this value? 3, right? So then you can check it, right? So instead of these, all these 3 values, that means this equation, this expression, we can write this one. We can check it now. W plus 3, another W plus 3. Okay. W squared. Here 3x, again 3x all together. Not the C, very sorry, W. 3W, again 3W, all together 6W. And finally, constant term is 3 into 3, 9. Is it okay? Right? And here we can simplify this one and it get the plus 5. Okay. Now it's okay, because we know in here when we take in the square root of both sides, we can remove this squared value. That means the square root mean what? Square root mean half power. Okay, half power. So both sides we can get that, right? Here already half power. Here 5 and half power. Okay, half power. So in here when we take in half power, just it become W plus 3 only. This part, remember when we take in the square root value in mathematics, we have to use plus or minus, because we don't know whether it is plus or minus. Okay. So then half power mean square root of 5. You know, no? Half power mean square root of 5. Okay. So then you can solve this one. How? W value is, when we bring in this 3 into other side, it become minus 3 plus square root 5 or minus 3 minus square root 5. So that's easy, right? Now you can simplify. Now you can simplify. Only you need to simplify this part. Okay. Because by using the calculator, you can get the square root value of 5. Okay, then you can add, that value is plus, no, plus and minus. So you can simplify and you can get the value for W. And here both are minus. So then you can add together and you need to put the minus sign. Okay, so that is the way how we can solve this equation, that type of quadratic equation, by using the completing squared method, because this equation has no factors, right? So most of the time, most probably no factors mean W, result of W or value of the W may be value with the whole number with the decimal or decimal value, right? Decimal value, not the whole number, correct? So then, yes, shall I move to the another example? Because earlier case, just remember our x squared terms coefficient equal to 1. Did you remember that? In here, W squared, the coefficient is 1. But how we can solve if this coefficient with the number, right? So that is the another example for that. Yes. I will move. Which one? Yeah. This is the sound. So no. Yes, this is the example. Another example. So I will. You can see. This is the given question, the given quadratic equation. I'll write again it. 2r is the unknown variable. 2r squared equal 3 minus 5r. Okay. So I will, yes. 2r squared, yes, equal 3 minus 5r. Okay. So yes, this is the given equation, right? So to solve this equation first, applying the completing squared method, we need to convert this as the standard way, right? When we put in it in standard way, this become plus 5r and it equal to 3. 2r squared plus 5r equal to 3, right? So this is the way how we want to set that given equation. Now check whether what is the coefficient of r squared term. In earlier case, I think you remember, it was 1, but in here 2, right? So anyway, to do the completing square method, we need to convert this r squared coefficient as a 1. Okay. For that, we in this case, we need to divide all the terms in our equation by 2. Okay, when we divide in by 2, this become r plus 5 divided by 2 r equal 3 divided by 2. Okay, In here, you know, when we divide in this one 2, then 2 we can cancel. Remaining is r. Okay. So then we need to write this side complete in squared when adding the required additional constant value, right? So then the thing is, now we need to identify what is the value we have to add in both sides, right? So then how we do it? Middle terms coefficient. Did you remember middle terms coefficient? And take half of that value. Take half of that value. What is the value then? 5 over 4. Right? So then we need to square this one. Right? When we square in this one, 25 over 16. So then we can include that value for addition as the additional value. 25 4. Remember, when we add in additional value in here, we need to do same thing in our equations other side. Okay, so therefore I put in 25 over 4, not the 4, 16, no, very sorry, 16 in his, when we square in, no, 4 into 4, 16. Right. Okay, now check, right, to consider in these three terms, r squared plus 5 divided by 2r, 5 over 2r plus 25 over 16. With this quadratic equation, we can write it as the complete in squared. How? Here we need to get r, same sign, and half of middle term. Remember, half of middle term means 5 over 4. 5 over 4. Okay. R plus 25. Yep, sorry. And we need to put squared. Okay. Then you can check, right? So with this, I will explain you further. R, no? Next bracket also R plus 5 over 4 R, right? So now when we multiply, the meaning of this one, this, no? When we multiply in this one, you can see R squared is so okay. When we multiply closer to terms, 5, sorry, here, very sorry. We have to write in here without R, no? Yeah. Okay, R squared. When we multiply in these two, 5 over 4R, and when we multiply in other two terms, plus 5 over 4R. Then we add in these two together, 10 over 4, right? 10 over 4, that means 5 over 2. It's okay, no? It's equal to this one, right? And middle term, okay. Then final term, when we multiply in final two terms, 5 into 5, 25, 6 into 6, sorry, 4 into 4, 16. It's okay, right? That means we have written the correct squared factor. And then next, you need to add other side values, right? And that means simplify other values, right? When you simplify in these two values, right, so we can get the 16 as the numerator, right? So in how many 2's in here? 8 into 2, 24, and right, and 25 over again 16. All right, yes, 116 enough, no? Yeah. So I'm not going to simplify this side values, but I think now you can understand, right, how to do the completing squared method. In this case, now as the next step, what you want to do, you have to simplify this part, right? Oh, everything is, yes, you need to simplify this one, right? So I'll do that also for you. 9, 49 and 16, no? Yeah. And next, it's very easy, right? How we can simplify further. R plus 5 over 4. Here, this side, this one squared one cancel when getting square root other side. Okay, square root value 49 over 16. That's very easy, no? We can get 49 is square root, we can get separately 7, 16, 4, no? Yes. For then it's mean 7 over 4 plus or minus, right? So then it is easy. Finally, final answer should be, right? Final answer should be R. Yes. R equal minus 5 over 4 when we bring in this one here, and 1 is plus 7 over 4, or one more answer in here, R equal to again this minus 5 over 4 minus 7 over 4, right? So these two you can simplify, right? 2 over 4 here the value you can get, here also you can get. Then two values we can get for the R. That is the way how we can do it by using the completing squared method, right? So most probably this should as a factors, right? That's why we can get the whole number, no? Yeah, I think we can get the whole number. Maybe, I don't know, right? You can check it out. Right. So it's okay. That is the second method we can apply to solve quadratic equation. In finally, there is one more method, right? We can apply to find out the quadratic equation, to find out the values for unknown variable of quadratic equation. What is the formula? I think you already know this is the formula. Okay. So you, when applying this formula, we can find out the, or we can solve the quadratic equation. That means find out the value for unknown variable, right? In this case, you know B value, A value, C value. Those values we have to apply. Remember, now we know our AX squared plus BX plus C. This is our equation, general form of our equation or standard form, right? In here, A value is this one. Therefore, X squared variables coefficient you have to apply instead of A in this equation, right? Shall I take the exam? Yes, then it is easy. No, you can understand very clearly. So okay, shall I write here the equation? 2xy squared 3x plus 5, okay, equal to 0. So when we consider in this equation, quadratic equation, right? When if we can find out the value for the x by using this equation, instead of this b minus b, in this case 3b value, It's okay, no? B, that means minus 3 here. Plus or minus, then is according to the given formula, b squared means 3 squared minus 4 multiplied by a here 2, again multiplied by c here, in here c equal to 5, right? And you need to get the square root of those values. And then 2a mean 2 multiple, here a value is also the 2, then you have to multiply by 2, right? So then the one, what you want to do now, just you can simplify by using your calculator, right? So that is very easy method to find out the value for the quadratic equation, right? So these are the 3 methods that you can apply here, right? So then